Hey everybody, welcome back. We've been talking an awful lot about communication, and it's always been about the other person, the other person, the other person. Now I want to flip it on its head a little bit and talk about communication between you and you. That's right, just me, myself, and I, just the three of us. How do you talk to yourself? In therapy, we call this self-talk. Sometimes it's called the inner critic. Why? Because it tends to be very, very negative. But pretty much I call it self-talk. Self-talk is a philosophy, a system, a theory. It comes from rational emotive behavioral therapy, also known as REBT, which was started by Albert Ellis. I've actually got a nice training on this if you want to check that out later. But REBT is the science of how your brain works. And one of the first things they teach you about is self-talk. How you talk to yourself will determine how you feel, because your thoughts create your feelings, create your actions. That's the primary core of REBT. So be very careful what you think, which is the self-talk, because it's going to create the feelings. So when you think depressive thoughts, you think you have depressed feelings. When you think happy thoughts, you have happy feelings. So you got to be very careful. We're not careful with our internal language, the way in which we communicate to ourselves internally, which is what? Our thoughts, our communication with ourselves. So our communication can be empowering or disempowering. It can be discouraging or creating courage. It can be either. It can be creating assertiveness or non-assertiveness. We have to be very careful how we communicate with ourselves. So I recommend that REBT course. There's also another course called NLP, and it talks about language. Why? Because NLP literally stands for neuro, which is brain, linguistic, which is language, and programming, how we program our brain through the use of our language. And one of the things that they teach in there, I have a course on this as well, is that language sets intensity. So if you look at the scale here, it goes from peeved all the way up to furious. If you tell yourself you're peeved, I put that word in there because it kind of makes me laugh, all the way up to furious, like I can't take this anymore, I'm going to explode. That language will determine how you feel. Matter of fact, I used to use this system to de-escalate people when I was a therapist. You know, when I would go into work and, you know, they called me in on my beeper back in the day, right? And they said, hey, you know, somebody's tearing up the game room. I'd go in there and I'd talk to the guy and he'd say, I'm furious because blah, 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 blah went on. And I'd say, okay, yeah, I'd be furious too if that happened to me, you know? I'd be very mad about that. See what I just did? I switched furious to mad very subtly. Always go one step at a time. He'd say, you're damn right I'm mad. They did blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I can see why you would be mad. I might be upset for days. See what I did again? Mad to upset. He said, you're damn right I'm mad, blah, 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 blah. You know, you just keep going down, down, down through the scale. You need to do this to yourself. When you tell yourself you're furious, maybe you're not really furious, you're mad. Maybe you need to change the language a little bit. When you get to a point where you can, you know, figure out that, hey, I'm mad about this, you might want to say, well, I'm really upset about this. By the time I get too upset, I can usually solve the problem. When I'm mad or when I'm furious, it's hard to solve the problem. So see how language will not only set the intensity, it will set what you can and cannot do. Resources you can access or cannot access. Let me show you that in the next section. A little bit more NLP for you. So we need to change the language. In the top section, furious, mad, upset, we talked about that. Let's go to the second section. Unbearable. When something's unbearable, can you bear it? Hello? No, it's unbearable. Can't. Bearable. Can't be bared. But when something's hard, is something that's hard unbearable? No, it's bearable. So you can do it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very, very difficult, but you can do it. Same thing when you use the word impossible. Not possible. Impossible. Can't be done. Can you solve something that's impossible? No. But can you solve something that's difficult? Yes. See how through the language your brain is using, it is physically shutting itself down. You won't intend to get out of something that's unbearable. You won't try to do something that's impossible. When something's a catastrophe, you just sit in it. You give up. But when a catastrophe becomes a unique situation, then you can deal with it. So Changing the language is absolutely huge in terms of freeing up your brain, freeing up the access to the resources in your brain. Now you can even do some reframes. Reframes in therapy are things that you say in a little different way. They look different, literally as if you change the frame on a picture. You can have a average looking picture, but you can put in a good looking frame and it looks so much better. You can also take a good looking picture and put in a crappy frame and it looks so much worse. Women know this is why they change their outfits. It's the way that they frame themselves. They frame their body to make it look at its best. Guys just go, yeah, this is clean. I'll pop this on. Okay, so look at the bottom section. Problem becomes challenge. Good use of words. Why? Because they mean the exact same thing. You've got something that you've got to fix. What do you call that? You can call that a problem. You can call that a challenge. People hate problems. The word is negative, and they run away from problems. We like challenges. Challenges are fun. You play a football game against another team. Why? Because they challenged you. It's a challenge. That's what makes it fun. We like to play board games because they're challenging. We like to do puzzles because they're challenging. We love a good challenge. Matter of fact, if there's no challenge, why bother to do it? You know, you say, well, why climb the top of Mount Everest? Because it's there. No, because it challenges you. If it was there but it was flat, nobody would do it. Okay? Or if it was downhill all the way. Say, man, you got to try this. It's like, 6,000 feet downhill. No. So, change the language from problem to challenge, from failure to feedback. This one has, just like the other one, has the benefit of being true. Are you a failure if you had something that didn't work out? Do you describe it as a failure or feedback? The reality of the situation, the science of the situation, is you just found out one more way that doesn't work. Edison had to try over 10,000 times to invent the electric light bulb. So he just said each quote-unquote failure is just part of the scientific method. Fail, 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 boom, succeed. Woohoo! Now you're a hero. So that's we got the motto of, if you want to double your success rate, you got to double your failure rate in business, from science. Science knew. You try something, you try something, you try something. You just keep going until you get the right solution. And you only worry not about how many times you failed, but the fact that you got the solution. That's what everybody cheers about. And it's okay, it's part of the process. I remember there was a TV show on, and God, this was way back in like late 70s, and it was about millionaires that were under the age of 35. And on average, they had failed 6 times. So some got it in the second or third or fourth try. Other ones took 10, 15, 20 tries. But on average, it was about 6.5 failures to become massively successful. And they all said the same thing, even though they all went bankrupt multiple times. They did not care because they only needed one success. And once they got that, they could take it to its logical conclusion. Nobody remembered the bankruptcies, except it just creates a nice Rocky story, went from rags to riches. And boom, off you go. Because once you figure out the solution, you can scale it, you can multiply it, and boom, you're a huge winner. That's how Bill Gates became a big winner. He wrote a little piece of code. It became DOS, Disk Operating System, way back in the day, so that the computer could run. That he actually did. He never did anything else. Windows program, that was actually something that he bought from a think tank that had been working on that and had that sitting up on the shelf for like 4 to 6 years. And they never thought it would be big. They never thought it would go anywhere. They never thought it would do anything. And he just bought it from him for like pennies. I forget what he paid, maybe $10,000 or $20,000 or something for that. And they said, take it, And he built his multi-billion-dollar wealth out of that. And he never tried to do anything else. Just scale, 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 scale. Bill Gates will tell you, I just hired people that were smarter than me to work the company, to work the system, to make Microsoft better and better and better. He didn't try to create 20 more businesses. He had the one that worked, and he scaled it. Boom, you're done. Cash me out. So, you can do this. It's feedback, not failure. And I'm a loser. Love that one. You're not a loser. Losers quit. If you haven't quit, you just got one more setback. Again, it's like the Rocky story. You get up one more time, then you fall down. So keep going, keep going, keep going. Remember, you only need one success, and everybody will call you a winner. have one or two losses, roll over and ask people to scratch your belly and be a loser and quit, then yeah, you're right. But it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're a winner. Keep going. Don't quit. Make it happen. When you find your success, blow it up. That's the thought that I'll leave you with, and I'll see you in the next section.